Hey, friends, welcome to the Purpose is a Decision podcast. My name is Kate Burns, and this is episode 2. If you had a chance to listen to episode 1, you got a brief introduction into my entrepreneurial journey, and of course, into what prompted me to, I'll say, answer to this calling, which is starting to build on purpose and in front of you. And this all came from this Howard Thurman quote that says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who've come alive. And I've realized that having the ability to have these conversations is something that does make me come alive, that having the ability to share things that maybe go beyond who I am and what I bring to the table. What I mean by that is all of us at one given point in time have been inspired by someone else's story, by someone else's walk. And so I know, especially from, back years back when I used to, travel and speak and stuff like that, it was very, very easy for me to become self-conscious about 101 things. But one thing that helped me break away from that every single time, you're never really completely out of it, at least I'm not. But one thing that's been extremely helpful was removing myself from the equation and realizing the responsibility that you have, that I had, in speaking life into someone else. When you realize that there may be someone else that is sitting in a lot of doubt and is wondering if they're good enough, if they too can have the success. They hear 101 success stories left and right, but then that question of, well, what about me? Could I? Can I? Do I have what it takes? And if you happen to have the opportunity to be the person that can speak life into someone else, I mean, if that's not a calling, I don't know what is. That's something to be honored. That's something to really connect to, and it's something to be taken seriously. So here we are, episode 2. My kids have had to remind me, and I don't know, for those of you parents, you may relate with this. Like you've taught them a bunch of stuff, a bunch of principles, a bunch of little sayings, a bunch of little quotes, and then they say it back to you. Like they know pressure is a privilege. Why? Because that's the thing in our family. We talk about that. Pressure is a privilege. We believe in teaching them. My husband and I believe in teaching them adversity. There's a difference between adversity and trauma. Obviously, we don't want a trauma. We do everything we can as parents to make sure that that stays at bay. However, adversity, we want plenty of that all day long, because when they flex that muscle, it'll serve them really well later on in life, so that they can essentially step into the men and women that they were called to be. And so as I'm facing my own giants, I'll say, as I face my own doubts, as I have my own choir of what ifs, and maybe not, and maybe nobody cares, and stop doing this, and why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? They remind me that pressure is a privilege, and then I want to look at them and be like, shut up, I get to say that. Anyway, I didn't say that, but because you have to be able to walk the walk and not just be the one talking the talk. So here we are. So the conversation that I'd like to have today is that of what happens when you've made a decision, you've made the commitment, you want to go for it. You even believe you've got what it takes. You believe beyond having what it takes. You have value that you can provide. You have things that you believe could move another human being to action. And you've taken that leap, and now the early stages, butterflies have now faded. How do you then honor that commitment? How do you then stay consistent? I think everybody romanticizes the beginning of anything, but it's the sticking to it, it's the continuing, it's the showing up when you don't feel like it, It's the just literally taking a step, even though you have no earthly clue what you're doing, and you just know the direction, the general direction you're headed, and you just go. And I think that that's a very special place to be, and that's a thing to honor when you have that tugging on your heart from whatever it is that you are wanting to do. If you are a seasoned entrepreneur, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what product you sell, what company you have, what organization you build. At the end of the day, you are going to be faced with those moments of doubt. You're going to be faced with, when the lights, turn off. It's kind of like, when this goes a little dark, but like if you've ever lost a loved one, and there's like the period of time where everybody gathers around you and surrounds you and loves on you, and the cards and the notes and the stuff, but then it's not till after, when it gets quiet, then you have to sit with yourself. And I think that that's, for most people, that's really where it hits. And I think for all of us that are on this entrepreneurial path, it's important to understand what you're getting yourself into and educate your expectations. If you have the expectation that I have this great idea, I have this skill set, and I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to set the world on fire, and you very well may be, but at one point or another, you are going to have to face those giants. You are going to have those moments that really try to drag out of you everything you got in order to get on the other side of it. But sticking to the thing is always, always key. Just getting up and starting to move, putting one step in front of the other. You don't need to wait for clarity in order to take action. I believe in committing to progress, not perfection. And I think too often, and although I believe this, I still fall prey to the alternative, right? Just like everybody else, where I tell myself, you have to do so many things. You have to cover X, Y, Z. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be, but then by then, especially for me within this platform of having conversations with you, the last thing I want to do is have a performative experience with you. I don't want to perform for you. I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you. I want to be able to share some insights that may spark something in you that causes you to say, you know what, I'm going to take the first step. I'm going to make that phone call. I'm going to send that proposal. I'm going to hit up a developer and start a website. I'm going to finally start advertising for my company. I'm going to scale. I'm going to go from this number to this number. That is worth literally everything. And I know that because I have lived so many moments over the course of my career, both in traditional business ownership and building within the network marketing space, again, years past. But the same principles remain, right? Committing to the thing long after the feeling and the mood you set it in has left you. That's where growth lives. It's not going to be in your comfort zone. It never is. Don't expect that it will. As a matter of fact, I believe when you are engaging within a particular, say, endeavor, and you want to maybe grow your company, maybe scale your company, I believe in having, and you'll hear me, if you listen to me long enough, you'll hear me speak of the ant's mentality. The ant is a tiny little creature that's unassuming, underrated, and nobody pays attention to it. But what is so ever impressive to me about an ant is that you could have a rock that blocks the way, and this ant will find a way to the other side of that rock no matter what. It's going to dig a tunnel under it. It's going to climb over it. It's going to go around it. But the point being is that you have to expect that there's going to be a rock. if you enter the world of entrepreneurship and think to yourself, well, because I'm selling life insurance, like every single one that I know is gonna rush to me and see the light and be like, oh my gosh, I've been praying for life insurance all my life. And then they all of a sudden want to buy. Think again. It doesn't happen that way. You will always have those wins. I tell folks, like in sales, I think that, I've been in sales my whole adult life. I've trained salespeople, and, still to this day, I run sales teams and stuff like that for my companies. And the reality of it is this: you will always have, out of 100 people, right? You'll always have like 10% of people that, no matter how sucky you are, they will buy. It doesn't even matter. Like you don't need all the skills, the trainings, the stuff. 10% of people, they'll get it. You have another 10% of people that will not get it, no matter how good you have it, how good the product is, how cheap it is. Hell, you can give it to them for free and they won't take it. That's that 10% of people that is simply like, they're just a lost cause. That's that. But the growth, the skill set, the accomplishment comes from that remainder 80%. That's where you learn, first of all, there's going to be that rock, figuratively, of course, but you have to operate expecting that it's going to be there. And so then you prepare yourself with the mentality, knowing it's going to come. And you just know when you face it, you're like, oh, cool. Like they told me about you. So that was it. Okay, cool. See, because you had the expectation, it's so much easier to navigate. It's not necessarily easy, but it's easier to navigate because you educated your expectation in entering the space, right? And so again, if you're in sales, learning to work within that 80 percentile, that's where you can make magic. That's where beautiful things tend to happen. And so, I've had to deal with all of the same disappointments everybody else always, encounters. But ultimately, those do not define me. Those are moments in time, and they're always fleeting. I know in the moment, in the thick of it, you don't feel like anything works. You think everything is a scam, nothing works. I'm never gonna find the right guy or the right girl. I'm literally a lost cause. But at the end of the day, when you engage within whatever aspect of life it is for you, be it parenting, be it entrepreneurship, be it romantic relationships, all of this stuff, listen, there's always the part of this that calls for you working on yourself, on getting on that journey of self-discovery, going from, being here to being here, and then here, and here, and you continue to grow. That's part of, the human experience. But to know what to expect and to plan accordingly puts you ahead of 99% of people already. And just remaining connected to whatever your craft is that you have engaged in. Maybe there's a business idea seed that's been planted in your heart and you've been suppressing it. You hear it, it comes, it tugs at you, but you tell yourself the story of why you couldn't. You tell yourself 101 stories of what if it doesn't work? What if this happens? What if I invest? Guess what? I've invested a lot of money over the years. I've won more than I've lost. Here, I'll share one with you. This is actually a very recent one. About a year and a half ago, my husband and I decided we want to diversify. We're on a path of wealth building. That's where we are. So we own several companies and so on and so forth. So we have a real estate portfolio. We have about 22 doors at the moment. Right now, looking to get from 22 to 21 because I'm selling one of my properties. Hit me up if you're on the market. But again, so we have, real estate, a bunch of rentals for a real estate thing. We have some normal brick and mortar stores with employees and stuff like that. And then we have a bunch of different companies. So we decided, we attended this training. We were at the mastery event with Tony Robbins. I think it was like a year and a half ago. And he was really stressing the importance of people not putting all their eggs in one basket and being able to diversify. So we looked at a host of things and studied XYZ. We ended up landing on an e-commerce store. Okay, cool. What does that mean? So basically, there's this company that you can hire, and they basically run an e-commerce store on your behalf. It's like a property management company, but for an Amazon store or a Walmart store. So it costs $75,000 to that's a franchise fee, and then you buy $25,000 of inventory, and inventory is whatever they decide inventory is. That's part of it, which again at the time it sounded wonderful, so we moved forward with them. We invested $100,000 with these guys, and it was not great. A few months into this, the Amazon store gets shut down. Why is the store shut down? Again, I don't manage it. I just hire the people. Their job is to research and look into the right type of inventory that is selling at the moment. They purchase it, they store it in their warehouse in Florida, and they basically sell it from there on the Amazon platform. Well, turns out Amazon claims that they have not followed their rules or authenticated where they got the inventory from. And I'm essentially stuck in the middle. I'm like, crap, what do I do? I will spare you all the details, but essentially push and pull between the company and myself, and like, what am I doing? Am I taking them to court? You know, all of these things. And the interesting thing when you're an entrepreneur, especially people like myself who grew up in the network marketing space, you have this notion, this idea ingrained in you of I think it's a made up term just for network marketing people. It's called stick to itiveness. I don't know that it's in a dictionary, but you get the idea. It's sticking to things. Is you don't jump ship just because things get hard, right? So I looked at this situation and I went, well, that's just the rock. It's no big deal. We'll figure. But then of course, I'm also kind of like in this dating phase, so to speak, with this company, because I don't really know you. Like, what? I mean, I obviously I trusted you enough to sign a contract and give you 100K of my cash. But then here we are. Like, do I trust you? Is it an Amazon problem? Is it a you problem? Long story short, they end up in court with Amazon. I'm stuck in the middle myself. There's about 500 other investors with this company. So they end up convincing me to sign a contract to instead of being on the Amazon platform, to being on the Walmart platform, which is also an open market source. Okay, cool. So I line up the terms and all of this stuff, and I'm good with the contract. Well, things start to go okay with Walmart. And like, mind you, like it's been over a year since I signed this thing. I have not seen much money. But again, I have the expectation that like most businesses don't see profit until well over a year into the business. So I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to freak out. So now I'm in this whole thing with owning a Walmart store. I sign a contract, things start going well. And then next thing you know, I'm starting to sell. They buy a bunch of crap like batteries, or I don't know. I mean, just like random stuff. Whatever their algorithm, at least that's the claim, whatever their algorithm tells them is a hot commodity at the moment, a hot seller at the moment is what they purchase, and you simply just trust them. Well, about 3 months ago, they get shut down by Walmart. So I'm like, oh crap, here we go again. But at this point, it's a lot worse than the first time. At this point, they are basically like, we don't have the financial backing to fight this. So they basically declare bankruptcy. So here I am. I invested all this money, and I'm like, crap. Now, The story is still unfolding. We have a group of us. There's about 500 of us who have banded together. We have a little Facebook community where we basically are, following. We got together, got legal counsel that's representing us because they wanted to go through what they call the ABC process, which is essentially enabling them to liquidate, all of the stuff that they had and starting to pay the creditors, i.e. myself. But is there going to be enough money to pay all the creditors? So we want them to file bankruptcy instead, because there's like more of a deeper recourse for those of us who have invested to recover our money. Why am I telling you the story? It's because stuff doesn't always work out, and it's okay. It sucked. It still sucks. But you know what? That's the life of an entrepreneur. People always want to hear the flashy story of, I got started, I didn't know much, and then I started knowing a little bit, and then I started making a little bit. I went from a little bit to a lot, and now look at me, all the shiny lights and fireworks. Yay. There's always so much more to it. Do you think that's going to stop me from looking at another deal in the future? Do you think that's going to stop me from deciding to build? Do you think that's going to prevent me from trusting? No, it's not going to. Just like all of us have had bad dating relationships, you don't swear off man or woman, whatever you're into, just because of one bad relationship. No, what you do is you take that experience, you take that learning, and you take notes from yourself. Time is a fantastic teacher, and you take notes, and next time I know what to look for. I wholeheartedly believe that every single thing that happens in my life happens for a reason. And my prayer every day is like, Lord, don't let any of the heartbreaks, the hard things of life, don't let any of these things happen to me with there being no reason for it. Now, I may not know what the reason is. I may not understand the reasoning behind what's happening, but I know I can trust in the one that does know, and I'm okay with that. And I can continue to confidently move forward. I can continue to confidently speak life into other people. I can continue to use the experiences that I have gone through and know that I can hopefully help steer someone else away from the path that was not a successful path for me. That's what this is all about. So having a platform like this where we can have those normal, unfiltered conversations that are just real and raw, and like, this is it. Do with it what works, whatever serves you, have at it. It's okay. And I committed to braving all of the little chatter boxes that I get on my shoulders that tell me all the what ifs, and what the whatnots, all of these things. I'm okay braving them all because I know what I'm after. At the end of the day, there's going to be resistance if growth is the goal. There is no way around that. There is going to be a rock on your path if you are going any place worthwhile. And so, I've kind of beat myself up a little bit over the recording of this podcast, if I'm being honest with you. But at the end of the day, I had to realize that this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. And progress to me is coming in here, getting in my raggedy office, sitting down here and talking to you. If it helps, yay. If it doesn't, thanks for stopping by. It's okay. Life is going to throw any number of things at you. The question isn't, like, should I engage? The question is, what am I going to do when the moment comes? Because it's going to come. There's kind of no way around that. And so it's been interesting for me to kind of continue to engage in this path. So now I would like to pull you into this conversation. How about you tell me, what resistance have you um, felt lately? Like what has that looked like for you? What are some things that have been kind of like tugged on you as you've been wanting to engage within something scary to you, right? Like, you know, what has that looked like? Let's talk about it. You can drop it in the comments, and I would love to connect with you. I would love to get maybe a glimpse at what's going on in your corner of the world, because at the end of the day, no man or woman is an island. All of us have something that we can contribute to someone else's story, to someone else's journey. And the notion that we essentially stuff it all in doesn't serve anyone but the devil, really, because ultimately all of us have shortcomings. All of us are, still, I'll say, growing and developing within whatever it is that we're doing. No one of us has ever arrived. That wouldn't be a part of the human experience, right? And so if we have a space where we could safely and respectfully share those experiences and maybe tap into other people's way of dealing with them, why the hell not? So that's what I'm doing. You know, I think that committing to killing those narratives that come to stunt your momentum, that's what it's about, because everybody deals. I don't care, like, I don't care what your thing is, what my thing is. At the end of the day, all of us have a boatload of insecurities. All of us have fears, spoken or unspoken. All of us have some of these inadequacies. I've told myself I probably shouldn't be doing this thing because, like, I have an accent, and like I don't even know that people will like understand me, like if I'm doing the podcast. And then here we are. I'm doing it anyway. Hopefully you understand everything that I'm saying, but I'm just glad that you have decided to stop in and continue to, for one thing, be a part of my journey. I honor that. It's not something I take for granted. You don't have to be here. There's so many, cooler places that you could be, but you're here. And that's amazing. And I honor you for that. So here's the thing. No one has the perfect answer, but all we have is today. All we have is the ability to put one foot in front of the other. That's going to look different depending on who you are. But I would love to invite you into the journey with me, because I do believe purpose is a decision. It is not a destination. It is not, I suppose it's not what people make it out to be. It's like I have committed to getting on this path, and come hell or high water, I'm going to continue to do that thing. It's just that simple. It's being a finisher. It's just that simple. It's like I engage in a lot of physically physically challenging things on purpose. If you follow me on social media, and you should, you've probably seen me do some pretty weird things, and that's okay. But, like, you know what? I'm not the fastest. I'm not the strongest. I am the consistent person who's going to start a thing and finish that thing. It's just that simple. What do you connect with? Who do you identify with? And what has resistance looked like for you lately? Care to share? So leave us a comment. I would love to read your thoughts on the matter. And I'm grateful that you got to stop here and listen in. And I will be coming in with the third episode. This is three of the Purpose is a Decision podcast. My name is Kate Burns, and thank you so much for tuning in.